Where was this fatality in Mortal Kombat 1? Here to talk about The Boys Season 4, Episode 7. I didn't review the last episode, no particular reason why. Sometimes you just get busy. I'll probably be dabbing into last episode as I talk about Episode 7. It's crazy to think we're already on Episode 7. Due to how they released the episodes, I think that's why the season felt like it went by so quick. I'm just going to give a quick spoiler warning. I'm not going to go into every single detail about the episode. Just going to speak to the things that stood out to me. It was revealed that Butcher was hallucinating Jeffrey Dean Morgan's character.
What the fuck's that supposed to mean? You're me.
I mean, out of all the fucking people that your festering, fucked up brain could have conjured up, you picked me.
Still didn't catch his name. And it's fuck the internet for life. I hate it so fucking much. It seems like no matter how far you go out of your way to avoid spoilers, you just can't avoid it at this point. And somehow, some way, you'll still wind up getting spoiled that Jeffrey Dean Morgan's character was a hallucination. Now, looking back on it, it is something that is sort of obvious. It didn't get obvious up until episode 6. By episode 6, it is apparent that Butcher is hallucinating Jeffrey Dean Morgan's character. But there's no reason I should have heard about that on something that had to do with like episode 3 of The Boys. The impact in that episode would have been better had it not been spoiled. But anyway, I feel like he knew that he was hallucinating his wife or his ex. But after he realizes that Jeffrey Dean Morgan's character is the hallucination, he goes back to The Boys, and Butcher lets the team in on what he's been doing with Vice President's husband, the scientist guy. But he lets them know that he's got the scientist working on the V virus. I like how Butcher realized he couldn't do it alone, especially knowing now that he's been hallucinating one of his old friends. I know the bunny rabbit thing kind of showed what's going on with Butcher, or where that could possibly end up. The rabbit that was injected with the V. I know they show like the tentacle things popping out of his stomach, and then we got that one scene with Butcher and I'm just gonna call him fake Mr. Fantastic, fake Reed Richards. But the guy, the guy in the trailer, and somehow, some way he wound up tore apart. But I still don't know what the end game is to that, or if Butcher is gonna live or die or not. I don't know if Butcher's gonna die and that's where the show's gonna end, or if he'll just be cured or mutated in a way. Actually, you know what? I could almost see them doing that, going the mutation route. But I don't know. Maybe that's me stretching too far. But I've just been seeing there's been a lot of digs at like Spider-Man, Iron Man, Batman. I'm gonna say Iron Man, even though they snuck Batman in there too with that Knight character. I feel like X-Men is about the only thing that they really haven't made fun of yet, in a way. Maybe not made fun of, but you know what I mean. But whatever they're gonna do with Butcher's character, they do have me asking a lot of questions, and I am curious about how it's gonna end. So I'll give the show credit for that. Real quick before I go in further, there's a small part in the beginning with Ryan. He's a part of a children's puppet show that Vault produces, that's on a Vault children's channel, almost like a Nick Jr. or something like that. Nothing much to really say about that. They want Ryan to be a part of this whole campaign that they're hosting on this kids channel, and they're filtering the message through a puppet show, because we don't see that in real life at all, do we? But Ryan wants no part of it, and towards the end, it doesn't go anywhere you think it's gonna go. As of right now, we're seeing a little bit of the same problem I had with the Deep. It's just going back and forth on character development. In the last episode, I believe, is where we seen Ryan and Homelander definitely get on more of a mutual, healthy father-son relationship. But this kind of just feels like stalling Ryan out. Speaking of the Deep kills the octopus that he's been in a relationship with after she confronts him about the affairs he's been having with Sage. They get in an argument, and during that argument, he smashes the tank, and then she suffocates after having her tank smashed. But in the beginning of the episode, it starts out with the octopus and the Deep just kind of chilling in bed, and she seems to be fine. There's a shot after that happens when the it's on the Deep, and then it turns to Homelander. It's kind of that thing that happens like after Homelander snaps, and then it'll turn to him talking to Ashley. Or they did a similar shot in an earlier episode this season When Firecracker's talking to Homelander and he doesn't hear anything but like the last few words of what she says. It's like that, but with the deep. That made me laugh. I don't know if it was supposed to or not, but one negative I do have about this season in particular, I feel like the writers are backtracking with the Deep's character, just in terms of character development. The show has already been through these beats with the Deep. You feel like in this episode they commit him to being a straight up villain. Always been a villain, but a full non-redeemable villain. I feel like the show does that in a way that throws out all previous character development.
It's you, bro?
Deep, just FYI, I have always fucking hated your ass.
With that being said, if we get more scenes like the boys versus Noir in the Deep, I'm fine with it.
Fuck. Made me fly. Eat a flying dick, motherfucker.
The part where Butcher, is it Huey? I feel like it's Huey. I don't know why I'm confusing it. The guy who's dating Starlight. The part where they run into the shapeshifter is well done. I do like the show's take on shapeshifting. I can't remember off top if we've seen a shapeshifter in the show yet. We've seen a lot in The Boys. But I do like this episode's take on shapeshifting. Whatever the character was, touches someone's skin, kind of gets an imprint on it, copies it, and rips away the flesh to turn into another person. I like that. The very end of the episode. At the end, when it's revealed that the real Starlight is chained up in an unknown location, the real Starlight is chained to the floor, and the shapeshifter just slept with Huey posing as Starlight. Turns out some random fan that came up to her at a bar and asked for a picture was the shapeshifter. The execution in the end was well done, and I'll give the episode props for it. A-Train's a full hero now.
What are you doing? Wait, are you? You're the leak?
Did he just talk?
Which possibly means he's going to be killed at some point in the future. My guess would be he doesn't make it out of this season. But then again, I don't know how many seasons we have left of The Boys. But to be fair, it feels like anybody could be killed off this season. But after A-Train helps fight the Deep and Noir and reveals himself as the leak, he cuts out his tracker and pieces out. A-Train and Ashley's dynamic since the first season of the show is something that I've always liked and been interested in. Anytime those two share screen time together, it's some of the most interesting moments of the series. A-Train may be the MVP of this season. His character's always been important to the show. This season seems like the culmination of what the previous seasons have been building up to with A-Train. Now, before I get into the last thing I want to talk about, Kyoku, I don't want to mispronounce it, but if it's not, I'm sorry. Kyoku and Frenchie are finally back on track. They finally got Frenchie back into the character that made him interesting in the first place. Not only made him interesting, but also made him useful. The interaction between him and Kyoku, God, I hope that's her name. But their interaction in this episode is the best it's been all season. I'll give this episode credit for this. This episode seems to be the episode that draws them, the boys, back together in more ways than just them being in the same scene together. When Kyoku and Frenchie was babysitting the scientist while he worked on the virus, turns out the scientist was planning his escape the whole time. As soon as he gets done with one vial of the virus, after he calls Frenchie and Kyoku over, and they were even talking about letting him go after he was done, he stabs Kyoku. That'd be her name. Stabs her in the leg, infecting her with the virus, and gets out of there. That part was even well done. I honestly thought she was gone. I thought she was a goner. It made sense to cut her leg off. So last episode, Sade wound up getting shot in the head by Mother's Milk after they infiltrated the party. It was the first time Homelander seen her get shot in the head and sees what happens when she gets shot in the head. Because if you remember in the episode before, she told the Deep if she gets shot in the heart, she dies, but if she gets shot in the brain, it'll grow back. Seemingly, the boys get one up on them, but it turns out Sage is the smartest person on Earth for a reason. The last thing I want to talk about is Homelander in this episode. So after learning that the guy that they blame for being the leak wasn't the leak, Homelander listens to Firecracker when she questions Sage's loyalty and her plans. Because of that, when Firecracker says that she found the leak and takes Homelander to Inter, to interrogate the leak, she brings him to Weebweber, who confesses to being the leak because either Firecracker promised him drugs, or Web Weaver lied to Firecracker for some reason.
Didn't know A-Train was the leak?
I knew.
You knew.
And you let us kill Webweaver for nothing.
You killed Webweaver? Did you think he was the leak? He was a junkie who'd confessed to nailing Christ on the cross if it got him home for his next fix.
Homelander still sides with Firecracker for some reason. Sage, since the very beginning, has been shown to be the smartest person on Earth, and it's the very reason that Homelander recruited her to begin with. Homelander even said earlier this same season that he's smart enough to listen. I'm not saying I wouldn't suck on Firecracker's titty, but why would Homelander jeopardize the overall plan for a couple of speed bumps if things were going according to plan, regardless of what Sage did or did not tell Homelander?
I was very clear. No more secrets.
But A-Train only leaked the information I wanted Butcher and his team to know. He was the perfect disinformation delivery system. This was all part of the plan.
I just don't think it makes a lot of sense. You would think Homelander would be a little smarter than to be blindsided at this point by a little bit of titty milk. Overall, this was a good episode. I just wish that we would have gotten a little more of the things that I liked about this episode spread throughout the rest of the previous episodes. Let me know what you thought about episode 7 of season 4. Let me know what you're thinking about season 4 so far. Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you for the next review.
I said empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless, like water.